So that's a brilliant way for us to step into this conversation about what is your uniqueness. So here we are saying about how similar we are, and now what is your uniqueness?
And as I say that, I go, Moira's uniqueness is that she can actually take me down from a 10 to a 0 pretty quickly. But
that's actually quite true.
It is true. It's your soothing voice, and it's the nature that you can call me on my stuff. And yeah, I think that's it. More probably call me on my stuff. But hearing your voice, you just go, oh, yeah. But that's an interesting one, because I was just thinking, what is your uniqueness? If I describe Moira, I would describe her differently to what Moira would describe herself as.
Debz is a stressologist. She will stretch your mindset to think bigger than you've ever thought before, with follow-through techniques that are realistic and achievable to blow any fear out of your mind. Moira is a mindset cultivator. She will help you align your personal trinity of self-trust, inner awareness, and self-confidence so that you discover and share your unique gifts and purpose. Together, their goal with these conversations is to share how our inclinations do not always work in our best interest, and to provide the knowledge to leverage the gifts that already exist within each one of us. Their desire is to help you learn how to access the habits and behaviors that will lead to positive change and your best quality of life. Welcome to your deliciously motivated mindset.
Welcome to another one of our deliciously motivated mindset conversation with dear Debz. That's Debz over there.
Yes.
And Moira. Debz
and that's Moira
here. That's me. I'm Moira. How are you, my dear Deb?
Oh, actually not too bad. I've got a bit of a husky little throat, but oh my God, today.
It's a goodie.
It's a goodie. It's a goodie.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this conversation. And we both have a little bit scratchy throat, so let's see if we can blast through that scratchy throat.
Absolutely. I know we do both have let's all cough in unison and mouth.
Yes, and mute.
Yeah, that's the one.
But before we get into our topic for today's conversation, if you've listened to our conversations before, you know that we like to tune in and rate ourselves. And if you haven't listened to us before, this rating yourself is checking in how's your physical body, how are you feeling emotionally, how are you thinking mentally, and how is your connection to something bigger, or source energy, spiritual essence. And just to rate yourself on a scale of 0 to 10. 0 is when you're feeling so calm, peaceful, at ease, poised, as Deb likes to say, poised and zen at the 0. And then 10 is feeling chaotic, stuck. I don't know how to get out of here. And the thing is we move. We move up and down that scale. And this is just an assessment tool to just look at being aware where you are, and it actually gives you some clarity and a wee bit of guidance too. So we check ourselves now, and then there's a halfway point in our episode, and you can just check in with yourself then. And then when we wrap up, we like to check too, because the whole vibe of our conversations is to help people get from where they are to closer to that 0. That's our intent. So all that being said, my dear.
I love the way you described it. And then I realized what I've got to do.
And then she has to think about,
and if you hear me, I know every time I'm like, talking on a podcast is easy. The hardest part is what level are you at?
Is giving yourself a number.
So right now, I'm actually going to say a 3, because as you started talking, I went, wow, this is really cool the way she's introducing this. And then I had a big coughing fit. I'm like, okay, so clearly you didn't need to hear much of Moira's flippin' words, but I liked it. So I'm actually just going to say a 3, just because I literally had that coughing fit, but I would have said a 2 before that. But
okay, very good. I'm going to actually say a 2.5 for myself.
Yeah.
Similar to you, as I said at the beginning, I do have a little bit of a scratchy throat. I'm still getting better, improving my health. So I'm feeling a lot better than I have in previous weeks, but I'm just aware of that scratchiness there. So I did that in my head. Sometimes when I go, am I a 2 or am I a 3? 2 or 3 or 2, 3. And usually if that's happening, it's like, oh, it's a 2.5.
I love that we do take so much time in and just go, oh, am I a 2? Am I a 3? Well, maybe I'm a 2.5. Am I? And you have that whole, my mind has these bigger challenges like, oh, what am I going to do? Am I a 2? Am I a 3? Where am I? Am I further down the train?
That's funny. Do you think that that's part of us, our performance anxiety in our own self? It's like, oh my gosh, I have to get it right. What if I got it wrong? What if I assessed myself at the wrong rate?
I remember when we first did this, and I love the idea. And one of the things I had to Google is I'd go, oh, she's copied me. We're both the same.
Oh.
Or I copied her. And it wasn't that we were it was copying, but not the yucky copying.
Mm.
You know, it was like, oh, she's copied me. That's quite funny. Oh. And then it was like, often, pretty much for about 6 months, we were at identical numbers for ages and ages and ages.
Yeah.
And then, and then suddenly it just changed. It went, oh. And then I didn't even notice. And then I was like, oh, what's Moira? Oh, she's different. And it's just that whole, interesting, where we go, we flow in and out. And I guess I'm probably somebody who does, I think the most I've been is probably a 6 or a 7. I think the worst I've been on a podcast, maybe. But I have got onto the times when Moira and I've started, because we've talked for an hour.
Yeah, almost an hour. We figured everything out.
Yeah.
But I think, you know what, I think it's because we spend so much time together first that actually will calibrate our energies to a large degree as well.
Yeah, and I know for myself, when I get on a call with Moira, I know that no matter what's going on in my day, Moira will resolve it. It's just an unconscious programming. I just go, oh, Moira, I'm delegating my mindset to Moira while I'm on this call. Yeah, and I come off very different. And even my partner goes, oh, you're at Moira tomorrow. You'll come back a different person. I'm like, no, I won't. No, I won't. But we do laugh at that. So, yeah.
Yes. So that's a brilliant way for us to step into this conversation about what is your uniqueness. So here we are saying about how similar we are, and now what is your uniqueness?
And as I say that, I go, Moira's uniqueness is that she can actually take me down from a 10 to a 0 pretty quickly. But
it's actually quite true.
It is true. It's your soothing voice, and it's the nature that you can call me on my stuff. And yeah, I think that's it. More probably call me on my stuff. But hearing your voice, you just go, oh, yeah. But that's an interesting one, because I was just thinking, what is your uniqueness? If I describe Moira, I would describe her differently to what Moira would describe herself as. The same as your intimate partner and teachers or any of that. Is so what your uniqueness is, other people may see it differently.
Absolutely. I think it's really useful to not only have a sense of what you see as your uniqueness, as well as being aware of what other people perceive as your uniqueness, because it's a beautiful blending. Because I think it's a good piece to bring them both together, don't you?
Totally. Well, it's when people say to you, when people come to me, what's my, what am I doing in my life, and but just, and I say that because I'm just like, oh yeah, here's every second day someone goes, help me find my why.
What's my purpose in life?
Yeah. Oh, I'm not even going to go down those ones. Yeah. What is my uniqueness? Here's a podcast. Listen to that. But in saying that, what our uniqueness is something that has been molded over time, and who we were. And I say this often: who I was as a school child, as a pupil at school is very different to who I am now in my 40s. Yeah. I can say in my 40s right now.
Yes, you got to get that in under the wire.
Because in a few days
he's going to join that club, the 5-0 club.
You're halfway there to the Queen's Message Club. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Queen will be around for my 100th. But yeah, when we look at ourselves, other people say to us, "Oh, you're really good at this, and you're really good at this," and only if you're in a heartfelt space listening, like you're open and ready, do you actually hear that stuff. Otherwise, you're like, "Oh no, I'm not. No, I'm not."
Or you dismiss it, saying, "No, I'm not." Or you could say, "What, that? It's nothing." Right?
They're the beautiful ones, those ones when people go, "Oh, can you help me with something?" You're like, "Oh, you just do this, this, and this," and they're like, "But you didn't even think about it." I'm like, "Yeah, because like I can see where the hole is leaking.
I can see how to connect those dots.
I can fix that for you and have it done in 2 seconds." And then they're like, "Yeah, but that was really so yes, your uniqueness is what comes naturally, really.
Precisely.
It's not a forced issue.
Yeah, it's not a forced issue. It is something that you can likely refine and develop more, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we know there's people. So I'm a parent of a lovely little cherub who's 21 soon, 22. No, 22 soon. God, I can't even think about it. And I'm definitely a mother. Yes, I'm a mother, but I'm not the maternal mother that wears the cardigans. Nothing wrong with cardigans, and I'm not a helicopter parent, and I'm not, so one of the things I'm unique is my parenting skills,
right?
I would say, which would be different to my mother's parenting skills, which is different to my dad's parenting skills. And my friends' and that's all part of my uniqueness, is that I see myself as a mother, but I'm not that motherly mother hen.
Right.
I can say mother hen. Are you allowed to say mother hen?
We do. Yes, we can say that.
Yeah. So my uniqueness as a parent is still, I'm a parent, yes, but I'm a different kind of parent to certain other people. So what is that uniqueness in there?
Definitely. Yeah. And so like you're saying, we all have different energies, and it's actually kind of interesting we're talking about this, because I am a mothering type of person. I just have my little princess fur baby is who I'm a mother to.
Princess.
But for me, people are actually drawn to my motherly energy. Like people have told me that many times, that they feel.
I don't think anyone's ever told me that. Just saying.
Just saying. But you
not
have
even my daughter.
Not even your daughter.
Oh, your motherly instinct is on point, Mum.
But at the same time, you have an empowering quality about you. It may not be seen as something that just landed in my mind is that whole thing about you saying the stiletto to the backside to get people motivated, whereas for me it might be a warm hand on your back, gently propelling you.
I've never thought of that. As I'm sitting here going, what's she going to say? What does Moira do? She's not a Doc Martin kind of girl. And you're like, a gentle hand on the back. I was like, oh, I was designing shoes in my head. What shoes would Moira wear? That's what I was thinking. But you're right. That is part of the different uniqueness.
Yes. And I think there are similarities between
the form
us.
of it.
Yes, there are similarities. We've talked about this before. We're both coaches and mentors. So there's a similarity in what we are holding space for our clients to achieve or to work through. But our gifts and what we bring to the table are quite different.
But they come together, they weave together nicely. And that's that, I was going to say not forced, and that's not forced. It just comes naturally again.
Yeah, and that's what I love about our conversations, is they do just weave together, right?
Yeah, and people don't know that they've listened to 45 minutes of us. Before long, they're like, "Oh, I've just cleaned my hair salon."
Yeah. Or I've just driven from point A to point B and I didn't even pay attention to any of
I didn't even know if I went through any red lights or what. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Because that's not forced, it comes naturally.
I was just in the flow of tapping into. So
Well, that's
here's-
actually, I was just going to say, that's a great one, because when it comes naturally, as that time disappears, and that's when you know
Yes.
you're in your uniqueness.
Yes. Yes.
Oh,
And
okay.
so maybe that you lose concept of time, but also when it feels like you could just keep doing it, like it comes so naturally.
Yeah.
You know how you were just saying in your example, somebody says to you, oh, can you help me with such and such a problem? And you go, sure, all you have to do is this. And they go, oh my gosh, you made it so simple, so easy. How come I didn't see that? That's your gift. That's when you can see something like, oh, it's easy. All you have to do is that. I can remember years ago, I mean, I probably still do it now, but that saying of common sense isn't so common after all.
Yeah. I've never heard that, but it's flipping true. Yes.
But yes. I used to, because I have a very well cultivated sense of common sense, but then it'd be like, so if somebody asked me something, I'm like, well, doesn't your common sense advise you this? No.
I demand attention from my own common sense. I tell it what to do. But I think your uniqueness, I wouldn't want anyone else's uniqueness.
No.
I do have to say that. I do look at people and I go,
it would feel so foreign, wouldn't it?
Yeah, like people go, oh my God, I'd love to have that talent to paint. I'm like, I wouldn't. Imagine sitting there with all those toxic fumes, and imagine sitting there in a space with it, and they're like, Deborah, you've really thought? I'm like, yeah, I couldn't be a painter. No, I couldn't sit and do that. I wouldn't have the paint. And they're like, wow. But we do have that little bit of envy that we go, wow, look how creative they are.
Yeah.
And when I see that sort of stuff and I can feel that, wow, that's incredibly creative, I check in with myself on my own creativity.
Exactly. That's the thing to do.
And it just shuts that whole thing down of having that envy or jealousy or whatever you want to call it. Just like, oh, I'm creative in my own way of having a podcast with Moira instead of sitting down doing a painting. But it is those things. It's just, It just goes, oh, I have my version, my form. They have theirs.
Precisely. I love that you brought that into this conversation, because that is the truth, is that if anything that we see in another person, like their artistry or their gift as a painter or a singer or a poet or a whatever.
Let's go singer, because I'm a really good singer.
I like singing. I love singing.
I like singing. I don't know if other people like listening, but
yeah, I know. I like doing it in my car.
And
remember to keep the windows up.
Go into a shop and a song comes on. Next thing you know, you're driving and starting to sing.
Oh, yeah,
and
I've done that before.
Whoops. Yeah,
I've done that too. Oh, whoops! There's people around me.
Yep.
But what I was trying to say was that if you see something and you go, oh, I wish I had, it's actually not I wish I had that gift. It's, if I see it, it means I have that capacity, not necessarily to copy that or to be that, but something like that is within you. And so that's what you're just saying. If you look at somebody's creativity and you go, wow, that's so creative, then it's an invitation to go and just acknowledge, be aware. What is your creative shtick? What is your unique flavor?
It just calms it down.
Yeah.
It literally just goes, oh, okay, this makes sense then.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Because that's the truth, is that we all have our own brand of uniqueness. And when people talk about, oh, what's my purpose? What's my meaning? What's my why? Well, maybe part of it is get clear on what is your uniqueness, embrace it and shine it out. Like,
instead of shining away. And so it's when people say, like I say to people, what are you good at? And they're like, oh, I'm good at gardening. I'm like, okay, great.
Mm-hmm.
Then let's focus on but I don't like doing it. I'm like, okay, so you don't like doing it, but you're really good. Yeah, I can do it really easily. And that's it. And it's that I can do it really easily because people think things have to be a challenge.
Right.
And that just drives me. They're like, oh yeah, but it's too easy. I can go to someone's house and I can make $100 and I can do this gardening. Not me, just saying. And then they're like, yeah, but it's too easy. Like, what do you want to, what do you want to do? Do you want to drive around town? Do you want to go run a marathon for $100? What do you want to do? Why would you not want to do something that's easy and it's some flow and you enjoy it?
Yeah.
Oh, but it's too easy. I need a challenge. Okay, well, let's look at what you need to put in the garden. Let's do
That's
some
a really
research and stuff.
interesting point. I wonder where the truth or the idea, the vibe of that came from. Is it that, success comes through struggle?
Yes, that's
right?
exactly it. Yeah,
Yeah.
you must have heard that a lot of times. People go, oh, it's too easy. I can't do that. It's too easy. It's like, what? Or I can't make that money. I just did a job for 5 minutes and I charged $100. Not me. I charged $100. So I can't charge that because it was only a 5-minute job.
Right.
Yeah, but it's not just 5 minutes. You had to book the appointment. You had to get in the car to get there. You had to make sure you had all the stuff or whatever it is. It's not just, oh yeah, quick, let's make $100. It's
right.
Actually, there's a process behind that. Oh yeah, but that's all part of that's all. And it's like, no, it's not. No.
It's a really funny piece because you know what? And I think this story is about Picasso. You know the artist Picasso? Yeah. There's a story, I believe it's him. It's a famous artist, if it isn't
bound
Picasso,
to be him, because it won't be Deborah will remember it. Yeah.
He's sitting in Italy or something in a outdoor coffee place, patio, and he's sitting sketching on a napkin, just drawing on a napkin. And when he's finished his coffee, he gets up, scriggles up the napkin and goes to throw it away. And this woman who realized that's Picasso, she came running up and she grabbed his hand and said, "Can I have that?" And he said, "Sure, it's $1,000. And she was just shocked. She's like, "But you just scribbled it on a napkin, like you're just sitting here for 10 minutes. And he says, "Yeah, but do you know how long I've been cultivating the capacity and the capability to sit and to sketch like that?" Because that's the point. And maybe part story of it, isn't it? Because it really was in alignment with what we were just saying. Oh, it's too easy. He could have easily said, "Oh, I'm just, so just scribbling on a napkin." But
I love that he put a value on that. Yeah. And that would have been, and then she was like, and so that's that whole, he's put a value on it because he's just gone, yeah, I've done that. I've done the work to get to this point. Exactly. She's completely undervalued. She's looked at it and gone, oh, here's a money spinner. I'll frame that or I'll sell it. Oh, this is great. And $1,000
that is.
Yeah, $1,000 would be definitely, you'd make money on that. Deborah, the make money thing. Oh, this is a worthwhile investment to hold on to.
Yeah, truly.
A quick wee message before we get back to this episode. You can get access to a special gift Moira and Debz have put together for you. Go to deliciouslymotivatedmindset.com/gift. When you sign up, you'll receive instant access to an inner peace kit and the 30 Days of Wisdom program, both of which is intended to help you feel deliciously motivated right away. Go to deliciouslymotivatedmindset.com/gift.
But it is, it's our old stories of how hard it has to be.
I know.
And undervaluing our worth, our uniqueness, really.
Yeah. And so somehow we bought into, or we were conditioned to think that success or these kind of abilities or uniqueness only comes through hardship and turmoil and struggle and rolling up your sleeves. And who said that? Like, that to me is just such a limitation and just it's not the truth.
Yeah, I was just thinking I was talking to someone recently and I'm just trying to think, and I mentioned the words grace and ease. Like, let's just make sure that let's just make sure we get things flowing in a grace and ease, or it was something along those lines. And the person went, "Is that possible?"
Of course.
And I was left with, what do you mean? That's how life is. Yes, you get your little hiccups, but it's still grace and ease, because as we know, it's on the way, not in the way. But It's interesting how people have that and I'm going to say blocked perception
Mhm.
of that life can be graceful, life can have ease,
Mhm.
life doesn't have to be a struggle no matter what's happening in your world.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you sometimes find in conversations, because I know I have with different clients, we talk about when things are flowing with grace and ease, that there's a part of them that kind of goes, yeah, don't relax too much, because at some point the other shoe will drop. Or
And is that when sabotage comes in?
Yeah.
Like, oh, this is too easy, I need to change this.
Yeah.
And you're like, what? Don't change your freaking tire if it's working.
Precisely.
Like, don't change it. Just don't change it.
And perhaps also allow yourself to acknowledge that you are worthy of things to be in flow and have grace and ease and fun and play and displaying your uniqueness for all to discover.
Yeah, we look at our parents and our parents' upbringing, or your whoever brought you up. You know,
Mhm.
we look back at that sort of stuff, and that has formed such a strong identity of who we are. Like, my parents said, I need to be a pianist. I don't know if that's such a word.
Pianist.
Pianist. Why did I choose that one? A guitar player. You know, I can't go pianist. I'm going to have to say something. Guitar player. But it's so hard to do. I don't want to do it, you know, and it's that form, but my parents want me to do it. My parents want me to do it. My parents want me to do it.
Right.
Until you get completely burnt out. And that is not grace and ease. That is because your parents are living vicariously through you. We see this on the sports field all the time. It's really alarming. You know, you all do this. I did this. I played this, or I did this. You all do this. Just let the person find their uniqueness. Definitely give them a guiding hand.
Definitely.
And if you're sporty and you want them to be sporty, you do have a little upper hand with that. But they've got to want to love it. Just because you didn't reach your peak that you did. So look at the peak that you had. Was it realistic? Was it not? And look at the value you got out of that. So then you're not driven to molding people, changing people to be the mini you.
Precisely, because that's just such a waste of energy for them and you.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, gosh, I would never want somebody to. I actually say this to my clients too, that I love researching different techniques and ideas and modes of thinking and you know, getting clear on your mindset and your beliefs. So I will teach lots of different techniques. I mean, you and I talk about the, you know, hand over your heart, or the tapping, or.
Which I'm seeing more and more people say now. I just saw it this morning. I was like, someone said, put your hand over your heart and breathe. And I'm like, I know, it's really easy. I know, I've got to get that out. We've got to get that out there more. So people are like, and someone's like, oh, what a great idea. I'm like, we talk about it all the time.
We do
talk about it because it actually freaking works.
Yep.
Sorry.
But here's the thing is, so I'm thinking about EFT tapping, emotion freedom technique tapping. I've taught that to some people that it didn't work for them. They didn't resonate with it. But my thing is that try it. So you just try it. Now, like I said, I've worked with people that it didn't resonate with. So then we create some other kind of visualization or some other kind of tool that does work for them. But the only thing is that they arrived at the realization it didn't work for them because they tried it. On the flip side, you could force yourself and say, oh, well, Moira said it was going to do this, and make themselves do it. And that's not how I roll. It's like, no, you try it out and it doesn't work for you. That's fine. At least you gave it a go. And what's the next tool? What's the next thing that we can, you know, take on board or have a look at that will work for you? Because that's in finding your uniqueness. There is no one size fits all. There is no one brand of
and who you were a year ago.
Yes.
You're going to talk differently to who you are now. I mean, there's still going to be some common denominators, but you're going to change different things, and you're going to up level it, and you're going to learn more.
Yep. And so to your point too, you know, that certain ways of speaking, certain habits, certain things that you like to wear even changes. It keeps changing and evolving.
So look at my purple
Deb's
hoodie.
looking at her purple hoodie. But you know what I mean? It's like I think about things that I wore when I was in my 20s. I would look at that now and think, yeah, that's a really long time ago. Just not gonna vibe with that.
I just have to laugh because you said that, and I said to Mum was here just because you were saying what you wore in your 20s, and Mum was here. She said, "Oh, I need a nice coat. I just need a nice coat that I could just wrap myself up in." And I'm like, "Oh, Mum, I've got one." She's like, "Oh, how long have you had that for?" Literally, that's it. I said, "Oh, I've got one." Not what type is it? And I said, "Oh, it's just from days gone back." And she's like, "When?" I said, my London days. Now, my London days were pre my daughter, so we're looking at 22 years ago.
Right.
Anyway, it's a deep purple crushed velvet jacket and it's beautiful.
Awesome.
Black,
I want it.
Yeah, you would. Yeah, with black fur around the collar. And I pull it out and I said, "Here you go, Mum." I said, "It might be a little bit big to you." And she went, "Where do you think I'm going to wear that?" I said, "You just want to go down to the shops. You want to be warm. Just put this on. You don't know anyone." And she's like, "Where did you wear this, Deborah?" I said, "Mum, in the UK, when I used to wear next to nothing, little shorts, little tops, I'd walk into a club and I'd have my big coat on, and then I'd take my coat off and I'd be near naked underneath." And Mum would go, "Oh my God, I can't wear this jacket, Deborah." Too many memories of this jacket. Anyway, Mum never got to wear the jacket because she just said, I just can't justify wearing a purple and deep purple crushed velvet, like a smoking jacket. Yeah, I loved it. I was more than happy. But it was funny because my jacket had a story behind it from when I was in my, 22 years ago minimum.
Mm-hmm.
So who I was back then is very different to who I am now. But Mum just couldn't get past
That's
"Oh,
funny.
Deborah, this has probably been put on a nightclub floor." Or this is, I'm like, "It probably has, Mum. It's probably got a lot worse on it. You know, it's got a few memories behind this." But she couldn't attach herself to that because there was such a story behind that jacket.
And it's not even her story, it's yours.
No. And it's interesting that she's created a bigger story. But when I talk about this, bring this back to my uniqueness, it's about our stories that we hold on to, and we pass on to others, that they attach, like, the old Velcro type.
Yeah.
But she's attached herself to this story. Now, admittedly, my mum is half the size of me, and it would have swam on her anyway, so I wasn't going to force the issue. She's probably going to get more cold. But it was interesting how firm she was. "Oh, I couldn't wear that. Oh, no, I couldn't wear that. I couldn't wear that." I'm like, "Why? Like, why, Mum?
Right.
You would look good in it, apart from it would be too big for you." But she was so attached to that story of that jacket that she didn't take her, I'm just going to say, didn't choose to be warm over that story that she's so fixated on. That's not even her story.
So it's really interesting. Yeah, that's the key piece. Because to me, I would be encouraging people to, by all means, tell that story of, "Oh, no, I could never do that." But then stop at some point and go, "Where's that coming from? Is it my story? Is it true? Is it serving me? Is it, right? Does it help me? Does it? Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely time to unlock those stories that are holding you back, because they are literally holding you back.
Yeah.
And our uniqueness is to be freaking amazing.
Absolutely.
At everything we do.
Yeah.
Now, when I say freaking amazing, you can be a 2, or you can be a 10, or you can be a 0. You're still freaking amazing. But let's just keep leveling you up. Let's just keep leveling you up to have a more amazing life, or a more amazing nourishing, or more amazing friends around you, or more amazing you, self-love, whatever that looks like. So it's about looking after your uniqueness and feeding it, nourishing it.
Finding your yes, right?
Yes.
Finding your yes. Yes. I love the way you say yes.
Yes.
But really, because that when you are truly in alignment with your uniqueness, you will feel yes. And yes to me is going to give me a sense of being on point, being calm, being graceful, being at ease. And so the things that contribute to that vibe for me will be completely different for you. and will be completely different to every single one of our listeners.
Mm.
So that's the key piece is what does your yes feel like? What does it feel like in your body? Where does it land on that scale of 0 to 10?
Mm.
Where do you feel really engaged with I really like doing this? Right?
When I get people to think about, their uniqueness, and one of the things I say, what would people say about you at a funeral? At your funeral, and they're like, "What do you mean? Don't take me there." It's like, would they say that you're fun loving? Would they say, and they're
You're
like, "Oh no,
quirky."
yeah." And people are like, "Oh, I hadn't thought about that," because our perception. So you wouldn't. I mean, you would say you're quirky. I would say I'm quirky. So we
Yep.
own it. You and I, if so, a normal person.
A normal person. Yeah, that's not me.
A normal person. As I say that, my whole core goes normal. And a normal person would just go, "Oh, okay, carry on." But we want to make sure we know what we're talking about. We want to make sure, and so we constantly polish our uniqueness, buff it, tweak it, learn from it, and share it. And I think that's the other thing, is sharing with certainty is a great one of
Definitely.
being able to actually share that value that you have, because your stories relate to other people. Some will get it, some won't. And I think that's a beautiful part of our uniqueness, is what do people say about you, not just what you say about yourself.
Yep.
And that's an eye-opener.
Yep. And not everybody's going to get you.
No.
Right. And so that, I think, is another part of when we really land into our uniqueness. I know not everybody's going to get me. And so I'm not going to chase after them and sort of say, "Oh, I have to break down and explain and justify or you know what I'm saying?" It's like, no, thanks. You need to find the person that you jive with.
You do you, I'll do me. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's a dating program in New Zealand at the moment, and it's how your exes match you up.
Okay.
So it's like, so my ex would have 5 video calls with people and see what one we break it down to, then break it down to 2, and then we choose those 2 to go on a date with my partner or my ex-partner. And it's quite an interesting thing to go, some of them have been broken up 15 years.
Wow.
And I'm like, wow, that person's changed. You're still holding on to some,
preconceived ideas there.
I know one, they got back together. It was quite funny. As soon as you saw them on camera, you're like, "Oh yeah, I know what's going on here. I know the end result. They're not going to go on any date with anyone else." But it is quite an interesting one to go back and go, in even just in a relationship, who were you 5 years ago in that relationship? Who were you 10 years ago? But to have that person say, "Oh, they used to have this problem, or they used to spend so much time in the bathroom, or that they don't make their bed," it's like, wow, that's 15 years ago. Holy gamoly.
Why is that relevant?
Yeah, and it's those stories and holding onto that stuff. Like, what do people say about you? I've just noticed the time to wrap this up, which is very disappointing. So I'll just say these, my notes today are a little bit jumble. So I'll just put these in here, and there might be a couple of things I've missed off. Sure. So what is your uniqueness? What we've got is, I've got not forced, and it comes naturally.
Yeah, absolutely.
Even just saying that makes you go, "Oh."
It does. There's some grace and ease right there.
Yes. And and when you can feel that in your body, you're on track.
Yeah.
And the other part, you just got to tweak a little bit. And so then the other part that comes out is, I've got time disappears, lose the concept of time.
Yeah.
And we know those moments you've just gone, "Oh my God, I've just done a whole day doing this and didn't even know."
Yeah. That's when you know you're in flow.
Yeah, definitely. That is definitely, that comes naturally.
Yeah. Yep.
Your own form. And I mentioned jealousy, or that little green-eyed monster. So just being aware of that, we're all creative in our own way. So just look at your own form, and it just settles that chaos down.
Yeah. Not that chattering monkey mind. We don't listen to them.
I haven't got time for you today.
No.
Grace and ease, which is the same as comes naturally and lose
Mhm.
concept of time.
Mhm.
Be aware of our old stories. And I
Mhm.
say old stories because old stories have really molded you who you are. Teachers go, you're not going to amount to anything. And so
Right.
you believe it, or you're not going to do this or whatever. And you ask any speaker to go back to their school report and it would say, would like to spend more time, would rather they spent more time listening than talking, or any of those. If you're actually a speaker, go back to your school reports and see what they say. I guarantee they're saying that you're a comedian or you've been this and this.
But also, like, because old stories, they served a purpose at some point, but
Oh,
do you need to really carry them on?
Yeah.
Right.
Do you need to be wearing that same cardigan or that same jacket from 20 years ago? Yeah, definitely. Definitely. It's in fashion. It's actually in fashion, and I would still wear it. Just saying.
There you go.
Finding your yes.
Yeah.
Finding your yes, which is a 0 to 10 of being engaged. I love that, finding your yes, and that's
Definitely.
all about that grace and ease. You can
Yeah.
feel that. Yeah.
And just claiming your unique way of getting there. Mhm.
That's that find your own form again, isn't it?
Yeah, truly.
And then the last one I've got is, what do people say about you that you're amazing at?
Yes.
That you can do.
That's a
with flow and
beautiful
ease.
tool of detective work.
Yeah. I think that's all I've got. I've probably missed something, but let us know what.
That sounds good. I like that.
Yeah, I'd love to know if we've missed anything out, or if we've missed anything out on there, or let us know, and what is your uniqueness?
What's your uniqueness?
Are you good at?
Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'd
actually,
love to hear that.
Moira and I will talk about our uniqueness in another one.
Yes.
Because we've only got limited time, I'll just be talking about myself the whole time.
We lost all concept of time here.
Yeah, definitely. We do.
Yeah.
That's it. We go, oh my God, an hour and a half in, we've actually got to start recording. Yeah. So let us know, what is your uniqueness? What are you good at? What do you love to do? That would be fabulous. So in saying that, we started, Moira, doing our numbers at the start. We're a number from 0 to 10. And then our aim is to get you close to that 0.
Yes.
So Moira was a 2.5. I was a 3. Where would you be now, Moira?
I'm going to put myself at a 1. I was going to say 0, but I still have a wee bit of a scratchy throat. And I think that maybe there's still more. Maybe we just need to do another episode on this one.
I think there is, actually.
Yeah.
I think there is. Well, I had to giggle because I'm a 1 as well.
Haha. See?
What is your uniqueness? Yeah. Yes, I'm a 1 as well. I just have a little gooby in there. Gooby, am I allowed to say gooby? Of course, yeah.
Another gooby.
There's a little
I like it.
in there. So we would love to know what you thought about today, our deliciously motivated mindset conversation with Debz and Moira. What is your uniqueness? Yeah, I think we have to do a part 2 to this.
Yes, we'll do a part 2.
Only if you want us to.
Yeah,
so you have to tell us you want to do.
Do you want a part 2? Or maybe they just want to tell us what their uniqueness is and move on to carry on.
Move on to the next one. Okay, that's fine. We're not going to do one unless you ask us to.
Yep, that's the deal.
That's the deal.
Yeah,
that's the deal. All right, fabulous. Thank you, Moira. Thank you, listeners. Thank you, podcast world. We appreciate you. That's
absolutely
Debz and Moira. Deliciously motivated mindset conversation. Signing off. Yeah.
Signing off.
Thank you.
Thanks, dear Deb. Thanks, listeners.
Thanks, Moira.
Catch you next time. Bye.